Perfection is an illusion, and failure is the gateway to success. While one hesitates because he feels inferior, another is busy making mistakes and becoming superior. This is a quote by Henry C. Link, and it encompasses the true fault in our society today. Imagine if you had never fallen off that bike when you were trying to ride for your first time. Imagine if you had never, burnt yourself when you touched a hot stove. These all are mistakes that we learn from, especially when we're trying to get better at things. And it's important to kind of really reel in on the fact that we can't hesitate to make mistakes because that's what's going to make us better. And in this speech, I'm going to talk to you about three main points to really emphasize the fact that perfection is an illusion and failure is the only true gateway to success. And those are: perfection is an illusion that holds us back, improvement is attainable but impossible without error, and I'm going to emphasize why competition in today's society is flawed. So on my first point, let's talk about the first point, which is, once again, perfection is an illusion that holds us back. Let's talk about how it's a standard that is set by other people. Perfection is not a real thing. Perfection is only in the minds of others, and it's a standard that is set by other people that we feel like we have to fulfill because somebody else said that this was right. Think about Adolf Hitler, who in the early 1900s stated that he desired that only people who had blonde eyes and blue eyes and blonde hair were truly be accepted. Of all other people, such as the Jews, would be executed. That's an example of a flawed statement that people, and also you have these beauty standards. You have beauty standards that people try to fulfill. You have social media stars, people trying to fulfill these unattainable standards and trying to break themselves when truly nobody is perfect because nobody is the same. Think about people being born with birth defects, mental illnesses, learning disadvantages. People aren't born the same, therefore nobody can truly attain perfection because no one can live up to the same standard of being. Once again, the standard of perfection is man-made and it changes in time. So what does this have to do with the thesis? How does this relate by the fact that while one hesitates because he feels inferior, another is busy making mistakes and becoming superior? Well, that means that the only true route is self-discovery and self-improvement rather than trying to become this one thing that is impossible. Now, let's move on to my second point, which is improvement is attainable but impossible without error. Now, once again, a lot of people hesitate but don't realize the fact that you have to get knocked down before you can stand up. Think about the scientific method in which you have trial and error, in which you have many trials before it's considered to be fact or considered to be something that is applicable. Consider that we have to really take into the fact that we don't get things right often on the first try, and therefore we cannot be afraid to get things wrong because we cannot truly learn this way. Also think about healthcare discoveries, think about vaccines, think about how we have to test things over and over again before we get things right. It is impossible, once again, to say that you can achieve perfection on one try because you don't know what perfection is until you try it again and again and see what works and what does not. This is, once again, applicable with scientists, with healthcare professionals, and we see this time and time again in true life society. This, once again, brings me back to the quote, which is, we can't feel inferior for making mistakes because that is how we learn. For my final point, which is why competition is in today's society is flawed, let's talk about the emphasis on comparison and competition. This brings me back to my first point, which is perfection is an illusion, and everybody cannot achieve the same standard because everybody is not the same. We cannot keep comparing people in today's society because people can bring different aspects out of themselves, and that is only attainable if you continue to try and fail, continue to get up and see what works and see what doesn't, because success manifests itself in different ways. And that is the true point of this quote. So once again, let's really circle back and talk about what we're talking about here in this speech, which is, while one hesitates because he feels inferior, another is busy making mistakes and becoming superior. You cannot learn, you cannot achieve success without trial and error, without achieving some type of mistake that tells you what direction you need to move in order to achieve success. And if you are afraid of doing so, somebody else is making those improvements and is able to achieve more success, because you can't achieve perfection. Once again, as I stated, you cannot achieve perfection but success in its own mannerism. So once again, I'm going to restate: perfection is an illusion that holds us back. Improvement is attainable but impossible without error. And competition in today's society is flawed because of comparison. Thank you.